It's day number 3 of our 7-day fasting challenge, and we're going to talk about some of the expectations you can see when you go on an extended fast here today on Jimmy Rants. Click on that little box down in the corner, and you can see all of the details about what we do here. JimmyRants.com is the website, and as always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I am at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content, just like all these amazing people coming in here right now. We also simulcast over on my Facebook page and over on my YouTube channel. We simulcast live all across all of my social media channels. So thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay on IGTV here on Instagram. You can also watch it over on YouTube after the show is over. About an hour after the show, we get it uploaded to YouTube. And then finally at JimmyRants.com, you can see all the past episodes there. Over 500 episodes now and counting of Jimmy Rants, you guys. So real excited about that. So today we are in day number 3 officially of this 7-day fasting challenge that I put out. Been talking about this for a little while, that I wanted to do a fasting challenge. And let me just be blunt up front before I get into the content of what we're doing here. I was very cautious about doing any kind of fasting challenge in the midst of COVID-19. Like when all that went down and we were sheltered in place and people couldn't leave their homes and people were like, oh, this is the perfect time to fast. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's a very stressful time with COVID-19 and some of the people losing their jobs and just fears over the uncertainties, blah, blah, blah. So I resisted doing a group fast for a long time because of that. And when I planned this group fast, I planned it a couple weeks ago that I was going to start June the 1st and do this for 7 days. I had no idea what was going to happen in our world, in our country, with all the race tension right now and everything. And I've got to tell you, this has been hard. And maybe you're experiencing this on your fast too, but I have had the most intense hunger unlike any fast I've ever done before, because of the stress over all of that's going on. And I'm getting some pretty direct, ugly hate messages right now on social media for daring to try to spread love and kindness in this discussion. And so I'm struggling, guys, and I'm going to be the first to tell you, I'm probably going to end my fast today. I can't keep feeling this bad in the midst of fasting. And this was my concern about doing a group fast to begin with in the midst of a very stressful time. This ain't a good time. So, and I'm just being raw and honest with you here today. My heart has only been about love and concern and compassion and respect for fellow human beings. And I have been nothing but attacked, especially this morning. I got ugly attacked today. And I just don't get it. Like, my worldview does not see hate. I have love for all people. And I exude that here, or try to anyway, here on Jimmy Rants for you guys. But this sucks. Just gonna be honest. And I've been on the verge of tears all day because I don't deserve to be treated that way. I have a good heart, and I don't apologize for being kind to other people and trying to show love for other people. I know that's not what we're talking about, but it's wrong, guys. We gotta be better for each other. I don't know what's going on. People are messed up in the head right now, apparently, because it's making them say and do things that I don't think they would do under any other circumstance. But let's get to the issue at hand. We're talking about fasting. And I have been measuring my fasting with various markers. So first of all, we'll share the glucose number, and we'll stick it here on the screen. I'm wearing the Freestyle Libre still. I got that little thing in my arm. And so just before I came on the air, there was my glucose, 79. You can see the chart. And last night it got in the 50s while I was sleeping. Now, it's Freestyle Libre. Some people say the accuracy of that is suspect. Okay, fine. But if you're doing apples to apples, then we're going to look at the Freestyle Libre data. All right, so the other thing I've been using is this BioSense meter. It is a breath ketone device that's a medical grade device, and it measures 10-to-1 ratio of what beta hydroxybutyrate, the blood ketone, would be. So I'm going to warm this bad boy up as I tell you more about it. So it loads up, but it's called BioSense. So go to mybiosense.com. And then if you use a coupon Jimmy, Jimmy, you get $20 off plus free shipping. So we're going to see what my breath ketones are. I'm extremely hungry right now because of the stress that I'm under. So I don't know what that's going to do to my ketone levels. I blew a 7 last night, which is a 0.7 beta hydroxybutyrate. But I'm pretty darn hungry right now. The stress has just been relentless on my body, and I'm not going to ignore that signal much longer. So I don't know if any of you guys are dealing with that, but this is making doing a longer fast very hard. I'm into day 3, so if I have to end it today, it's no big deal. I will take 2.5 days worth of fasting and be happy with that, and try again another time when I'm not as stressed. But it is still warming up. Probably another 20 more seconds, it'll be ready to take my reading here. And it's a cool little device. I love this thing. And it's got an interface with your phone, so you can definitely download the app. All right, I think it's gonna let me blow in here in just a second. Here we go. So then it starts analyzing. I'll go live on screen so you can see when it pops up. It usually takes about 15 to 20 seconds, and it gives you the reading. And remember, this is a 10-to-1 ratio of what beta hydroxybutyrate blood ketones would be. So the verdict is it's a 6. So that's equivalent to a 0.6 on the blood ketones. So there it is, YouTube. There it is, Facebook, 6. All right, so I'm in ketosis, but I would hope so in day number 3 of a fast. Usually by this point in the fast, you are seeing your ketones start to jump. By day 4, they jump really high if you're still fasting. So salt up, water up, dilly dilly. But today, you guys, I wanted to talk about what are the common expectations in the midst of doing an extended fast. Because most of you are in day number 3. Some of you are almost at the end of day 3. Others of you are at the beginning of day 3. But wherever you are in your fast, there are certain expectations that happen. And so I found this article from lifeapps.io, what to expect on a prolonged fast. Now, I don't want to read the whole thing because there's a whole lot of information in there that I don't think is really relevant. Like they were talking about plan for having crutch calories. Like if you're not used to a fasting regimen, they say, oh, have calories on hand ready to eat. No. You don't want to do that. I mean, if you're going to eat, eat. If you're going to fast, fast. And so I disagreed with that part of it. But they definitely had some really good things in here. So expectations are family won't support you. They will express concerns. But you do need to have someone who will be an accountability partner, which is why we're doing this group fast with me. I know a lot of you guys don't have those people in your life, so you need someone online. So I've tried to be that support for you. And by the way, if I end my fast today, I'm not going to end the fasting support. So if you're still fasting and you're not stressed right now, I will still be here giving you content. So don't worry that I'm not going to go away with the fasting content, even if I end my own personal fast. All right, so let's see. Hunger. This is the one that is a common expectation. Everybody thinks that when you go on an extended fast, you're just going to get progressively hungrier and hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and you just keep getting worse. That's not the way it works. Generally, when you're not stressed, you get the most hungry probably in day number 2. If you're fat adapted, keto adapted, day 1's no big deal. Day 2 tends to be rough. Into day 3 a little bit for some people. But after day 3, most people report that hunger really isn't a big deal. I will tell you, yesterday was day number 2, and it was the most intense hunger I've ever had on a fasting attempt because of the stress I was talking about earlier. And so you have to know thyself. And if you realize that, okay, that day 2 is the most intense hunger, maybe you push through it a little bit to try to get beyond that to see if it's actual hunger or if it's something that you need to just ignore. Because sometimes our body, our minds will play tricks on us and make us think we need to eat when we really don't. So if you're wondering if you're going to be hungry during a prolonged fast, the answer is yes, duh. Unfortunately, even regular intermittent or alternate day fasting won't lower your hunger hormone levels over time. You're gonna feel regularly hungry on those fasting days. These hunger sensations may be heightened for women. So yeah, all you ladies, you have a special little gift inside your body because the hunger hormone ghrelin can go higher in fasted women. So yeah, lucky you. However, how you experience hunger may be different than you expect. You might find that you begin to have a different mental relationship with hunger over time, recognizing it for the rise and fall of the hunger hormone that it is. This is such an important part. People think, I'm hungry, thus I need to eat. No. When you're hungry, it's your body sending you a signal vis-a-vis your hormones that something is going on that requires you to have either nutrition or something in the form of salt, in the form of water, other kind of things in the form of just relaxation. So it's not always a signal for you to eat. And yet people hear in their stomach or they feel that gnawing sensation and they just automatically think, oh, that's my body trying to tell me to eat. And it's not always the case. You might even begin to be able to observe your hunger and your food cravings as you might observe your wandering thoughts, and you try to practice mindful meditation from a place of non-judgment, transcendence, and non-reaction. You might be hungry in the moment, but you may not react to it nearly as much as you think. You may even begin to appreciate it as a signal for your body to hunker down and become more stress resistant. So this is a great point, you guys. When you go on a prolonged fast, a common expectation is you're going to feel hunger. But the hunger comes in waves. It's not constant. When I had that really intense period of hunger yesterday in the midst of day number 2 of this fast, that one was pretty rough. And it lasted for about 4 hours for me. Now, most people don't deal with that. As I said at the beginning, mine was brought on by stress of the situation and things that are going on in the world right now, and some things that have been said to me personally. So that's impacting my personal stress levels, which is making this a lot more challenging. Even now, as I'm talking to you on camera, I am starving. Like I can feel the gnawing in my hunger in my stomach. And I know that pretty soon I need to be breaking this fast, because you don't be the hero when you have this prolonged hunger that just doesn't seem to let up. That's your body telling you, okay, it's time to end it, big boy. For most people who aren't under stress, you get this wave of hunger, you resist it with the water, with the salt and all the things, and then it goes away and you're not hungry. My sleep was pretty messed up last night too, as a result of the stress and as a result of being hungry when I went to bed. So it all adds up. So hunger is going to be there. But if you become more stress resistant, you'll notice what's real hunger that's instigated by stress versus what is just that gnawing feeling that really isn't hunger, and it will pass very quickly. When and to what extent you experience hunger while fasting will depend somewhat on whether you are naturally an early breakfast person or whether you are accustomed to going to bed on a full stomach. Your hunger, listen to this, you guys, also follows a daily circadian rhythm, and it's your hunger hormone ghrelin that's largely responsible for the coming and going of these stomach groans that we call hunger. Ghrelin is produced primarily by the stomach, and it will increase your appetite and your food intake. Ghrelin levels typically observe a circadian rhythm, cycling up and back down every day. Ghrelin levels rise throughout the day, hitting a peak in the early to late afternoon, and then they slowly wane as you go to bed. Ghrelin levels also slowly decrease on average over a multi-day fast. This is why if you fast for upwards of 7 days, you'll probably find the first few days are the most important, while your hunger sensations decrease slightly after that, even if you have daily peaks in the early afternoon, especially after exercise. So I can tell you from previous fasts that I've done that yes, day one, no big deal. You're used to doing intermittent fasting as a keto dieter for most of you. Day two is the hardest because that's when your body goes, okay, dummy, you're not putting food in the mouth. Something's going on up there. We're going to scream at you a little bit. And that's when you get pretty intense hunger on day two. By day three, maybe you're still feeling a little bit of hungry, but I think the body's like, all right, the dummy up there is not going to give us food. So let's start tapping into stored body fat so we keep this big lug of human being up there alive, and it starts to nourish itself from your stored body fat. And by day four, you're like, okay, if he's not going to feed us, we're going to try to keep the feeding cycle going with stored body fat in the days after day three. So that's why by day 4, 5, 6, 7, you're not feeling the effects of the hunger near like you did the first few days. And your ketone levels, which is that byproduct of fat burning, start to increase by day 4 significantly so. So while you will be hungry while fasting, you can take comfort that it'll probably get easier over time. So if you're in the midst of this 7-day fast and you're on day number 3 right now, it's gonna get better. If it's been rough up to now and you've gotten all the way to this point in day 3, you're probably gonna make it at this point if you don't have stress in your life and other factors that would cause you to end this fast. If you make sure that you have something fun or productive to do during the day, that your time of day that your ghrelin peaks, you may find your hunger has waned by the time you have a chance to think about food. Ghrelin levels are also low when you first wake up. So maybe when you wake up, you don't really feel hunger at all. On a fast, that's typically my favorite time of the day, is when I first wake up in the midst of a fast, because I know I won't be hungry. No matter if I went to bed hungry, I wake up not hungry because ghrelin levels are at their lowest. So if you can push past the hunger when you go to bed on fasting days, you'll likely wake up feeling so much more prepared and energized. You can have your black coffee and carry on with your fasting. So keeping a busy schedule, particularly on those first few days of a longer fast, keep plenty of beverages on hand like tea, coffee, flavored water, to help when the food cravings strike. If you really get hungry, try a few minutes of mindful breathing to bring your focus of your breath and non-judgmentally observe your hunger sensations without acting on them. Today on the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show podcast, I have Allie Miller on there, and she on that podcast taught me a breath technique called 4-7-8. If you've never heard of this before, it might help you in the midst of your fasting. So 4 is 4 seconds breathing in. 7 is how long you hold that breath. And then 8 is how long you push that breath out. So we can all do that together, right? So here we go. 4 seconds in. Then hold it for 7. And then let it out for 8. And you can do as many of those as you want. Whoa, I got a little dizzy. Whoa. You can do as many of those as you want, but they are very good relaxation if your body feels distressed. And maybe when we're done with this Jimmy Rants here today, I'm going to do several of those to try to chill out. I really don't want to end the fast, but if I have to, I will. Next up, other expectations. Obviously, hunger is one, but food cravings is another one. You might find that even when you aren't actively feeling hungry, just looking at food during your longer fast can make you salivate and feel starving. So it's best to stay away from any food while you're on a fast, or empty your refrigerator of everything except for your protein and low carb calories that you're going to have once you break your fast. And I can tell you, when I'm scrolling through Instagram, for example, or Facebook, and I'm on a fast, it seems like those are the days people are posting the most delicious looking recipes. You ever notice that? Like when you're doing extended fasting and you're scrolling on social media and there is a beautiful, steak, or there's just a beautiful dish, you're just like, and it just seems like those days they post more than anything. I know I've been guilty of it when people have been fasting and then I post some food picture. People are like, oh, that's torture. That looks so good. I'm fasting. I'm sorry, I didn't know. So a motivational wanting to eat, a food craving, can be triggered by external cues, hunger states, or simply imagining the sight, smell, or taste of a palatable food. Food cues in the surrounding environment activate your brain reward system, and it's this system that preferentially engages our attention towards eating foods full of calories. This happens especially when you are hungry, which increases your motivation to eat and thus have food cravings. More specifically, if you pay attention to these food cues surrounding your daily life, such as the appetite smell of a freshly baked chocolate cake, or a golden crispy French fry, or deliciously melted cheese pizza, the brain is triggered to search out these foods. And this triggering is augmented when we are hungry. So the point is, keep that food out of sight, out of mind, and you won't have the temptation. When you do experience food cravings, try not to immediately give in to it, but rather focus on and accept the sensations of the food craving and the thoughts that accompany it. The primary aim of this approach is not to limit your food intake, but to make you more aware of the automatic pattern that usually emerges when you get food cravings. People often say that even within the context of keto. Oh, I'm always craving. I'm like, okay, what happens if you don't fulfill that craving? Like, just because you get a craving for whatever, doesn't mean you have to fulfill that craving. Now, if it's a persistent craving and it's over and over and over, try to find something to acquiesce it. But most of the time, just like the hunger, it will go away. Cravings, you get that craving, you feel the sensation of the craving, doesn't mean you have to fulfill it if you can resist it. You can also use this mindfulness approach during a longer fast in order to avoid too many calories. Once you start eating again, also try to eat slowly to savor the calories after the fast. So those are all good things. What is another common expectation? And again, if you joined us late, I am reading from lifeapps.io, and it's all about all of these kind of common expectations in the midst of doing an extended fast. So the third one here, rising ketone levels. You should expect that. And it can vary from person to person. I think the more well keto adapted, the longer keto adapted you've been, you're not going to see this humongous spike in your blood ketones because your body's already used to using fat for fuel and producing ketones for energy. So don't expect everybody to have the same response with their ketone levels, but you will see your ketone levels go up. And especially by day 3-4 should go up significantly. First couple of days, maybe not as much as your body's adjusting. But once you get to that point where you're not hungry, you're not craving, and you're feeling energetic and good, that is your sign that your ketone levels are probably pretty good and that you can test for ketones and you'll see you're in a very therapeutic level of ketones. If you're testing blood ketones, then it's going to be over 1.0. If you're using the BioSense or some other breath ketone, the BioSense is a 10-to-1 ratio. So if this is 10 or higher, then you know you are in a good state of fat burning that's probably going to give you the benefits. Your ketone levels will jump on each morning of a fast. So day 1 to day 2, it'll be higher day 2. Day 2 to day 3, it'll be higher day 3. Day 3 to day 4, it'll jump, and so forth and so on. I find I've done 21-day fast 3 times, and I find that once I hit about day 6, I kind of hit the peak of the ketones. They don't just keep going higher and higher and higher. They'll hit something like 4.5 or 5.0, 5.3, but it won't go much higher. I want to say the highest reading I ever got was like a 6.8, but it never got higher than that, even deeper into the fast. So people think their ketones would keep going up and up and up, and it just doesn't happen that way. Rising ketones are a signal that your body's burning fat for fuel, so you should celebrate that. And you're using fatty acids to produce ketones through your liver. Ketones have a highly efficient alternative, or are a highly efficient alternative source for your brain and other organs. That's why you feel good. That's why you have clarity of mind. That's why you have energy. All of these things are the benefits that come from the ketones. They also have a range of benefits when they're present in higher numbers. Research has revealed that ketones serve as a signaling molecules like hormones that can initiate cellular processes and even change gene expressions to make you more resilient to stress. So if you don't come into a fast with stress and you get to that point where you get this signaling molecule to change gene expression to make you more resilient to stress, then it's actually going to help you with stress. It's one reason why, even though I wanted to pause my fast so bad yesterday, I resisted it, because I know this about ketone bodies. And I know if you can get to the point where your body can do this, then you can be resistant to stress. Ketones may activate genes that help in fat metabolism and will protect your DNA from getting damaged. All of this is in research. Newer research also suggests that ketone molecules, including BHB, beta-hydroxybutyrate, protect the cardiovascular system from the impacts of cellular senescence that occurs with aging. So it's anti-aging to engage in these periods of fasting. Pretty fascinating, right? I know, bad pun, but it is what it is. Alertness and energy boost are the next ones. People often report during longer fasts they begin to get particularly alert. This may be in part due to rising cortisol while you're fasting. There is data that suggests cortisol or stress levels will cycle daily, but they rise throughout a prolonged fast. Cortisol levels reach low points once ghrelin or hunger hormones are at their highest, and high points in the evening when the ghrelin levels are lowest. So cortisol levels also slowly rise over the course of this longer fast that you might be on as your hunger starts to dampen. This is your body telling you, in an evolutionary sense, that it's time to go hunt for food. Just as cortisol tells birds caught in a sudden spring snowstorm to stop singing, suspend reproduction, relocate, and make finding food a priority. So cortisol is the boogeyman amongst the hormones. Oh, we don't want cortisol. No, you want cortisol. Cortisol is a good thing, just as insulin is a good thing. The problem isn't cortisol itself, isn't insulin itself, it's the dosage. It can be a great thing in healthy doses. It can increase, talking about cortisol, increase energy levels, alertness, and the activity of brain cells, as long as it doesn't become chronically high. The key is how long it stays elevated and when. There was one study of healthy young women where increases in cortisol were significantly associated with a subsequent rise in activeness, alertness, and relaxation, and a trend level reduction in their nervousness and stress. It helps to consider that exercise also will raise your cortisol levels temporarily in ways that prompt your body to adapt by ramping up stress reduction and creating an anti-inflammatory property. So, good stuff, right? So we talked about yesterday the need to do electrolytes, and you want to fight off fatigue because of that. We also talked about feeling cold. We talked about a lot of the side effects yesterday. You will experience euphoria, mindfulness, and mental clarity in the latter half of a 7-day fast. You might experience euphoria. So some of you are like towards the end of day 3, about to start day 4. Once you get into that part of the fast, you kind of feel like you're high. Have you ever got a fasting high before? You know, they talk about the runner's high, and you get that kind of high feeling. You get that with fasting too. And even yesterday, I kind of had that little bit of kind of a spacey feeling. It's kind of an interesting sensation, a sense of being present or mindful, and you have very clear mental acuity. Those of you that have done long fasts before, you know what I'm talking about. Time may even feel like it's going slower. It can. And in fact, one person said, I felt like time was flowing in a more constant manner. When I'm not fasting, I get upset about time moving too slow, or I feel like it moves too fast when I'm enjoying something. I wondered if there was something such as a hunger high. I felt like my mind was behaving differently than normal. It was so interesting. My main takeaway from the extended fast was that it helped me get rid of stress and anxiety. I felt like my mood fluctuated less than normal. Which again is why I'm trying to not end this fast prematurely, because I know once you get to a certain point in the fast, you get all of those benefits. Mental clarity and improved cognitive function have been associated with keto, and ketosis brings it on. And so you get into ketosis with fasting as well. Relying on ketones for energy also prompts brain cells to become more efficient by producing more mitochondria inside the neurons and thus improving how much clean energy they produce. So this euphoria will lower anxiety. Mood boosting impacts of fasting can be related to the ketones as well as to a brain protecting chemical called brain derived neurotropic factor, or BDNF. Ketones have recently been found to change gene expressions in ways that may produce more BDNF in the brain. BDNF also has anti-inflammatory and antidepressant effects to promote the growth of new connections between the neurons. And so it's a good thing. Obviously, another common expectation you're going to find in the midst of doing an extended fast is lowering fasting glucose, which I've been showing you, and lowering insulin, because your pancreas literally is getting a break. If you're doing this 7-day fast this week, your pancreas is literally sending you a love letter saying, thank you. I don't have to work as hard. And so your fasting insulin levels get to chill out. Glucose levels drop over time during a fast, as do insulin levels. Lowering your glucose and insulin is good for a variety of reasons. Chronically high glucose and insulin put you at risk for diabetes and heart disease. These molecules also tell your cells that times are good, and they signal them to grow by bypassing cellular recycling and protein cleanup processes that help to prevent diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's disease. I remember I interviewed on the Living La Vida Low Carb show one time this cancer researcher named Dr. Thomas Seyfried out of Boston College. This was 2009 I interviewed him. And he said at the end of our podcast, he said, you know, if you want to prevent cancer as a preventative measure, you want to do a 7 to 10 day fast once a year using distilled water and salt. And he said, if you do that, you're going to do great things metabolically for your body that will put you in a position to not develop cancer. Now, obviously, some cancers aren't that way. Other cancers can develop, but the glycolytically ones, the glucose dependent ones, yeah, it was really compelling. And that was 2009, Dr. Seyfried told me that. And now we know that this is one of the great benefits that comes from fasting. Insulin levels drop to nearly as low as they will reach by the time you are 50 plus hours into a fast. So I'm literally right now in hour number 49 of the fast that I'm in. They will be cut nearly in half as compared to where you started. So if your fasting insulin was 14 when you started, 50 hours later it should be down to 7. That's pretty cool. Much of this drop happens quickly, even within the first 24 hours. So in case you decide to cut your multi-day fast short, you still will have a significant lowering of insulin, prompting your body's cells to begin their grow and divide, or pause their grow and divide programs, and to recycle their components. So that's pretty cool. Another common expectation is lowered inflammation, especially those who have inflammatory issues like autoimmune disease, allergies. You might find that your allergies, from food allergies that cause itchy skin to hay fever to asthma, all improve. Part of the reason for this is you're starving the cells that ramp up production of antioxidants and other anti-inflammatory processes. So that's pretty neat as well. I want to make sure I get through the rest of these. Of course, weight loss and fat burning is a common expectation. Duh, you're going to lose weight if you don't eat food. So, yeah, I thought this was a really good article, you guys, to show you some of the common expectations when you go on a fast. And there's many more things we could talk about, but I definitely want to see what you guys have to say here today on Jimmy Rant. So let's pop over here to my Instagram page first. Then we'll come over to my Facebook page and finally on YouTube. So welcome in, welcome in. JimmyRants.com is the website. See what you guys have to say about this. Low Carb New Yorker, haven't seen you in ages. Where you been, man? I've been here every single day. B. Parkman said, didn't sleep real well, felt a little peaked this morning. I feel fine now. I felt great the first 2 days though. Yeah, you're gonna have those moments where your sleep can get messed up, and it's normal. It's no big deal. Like I said, my sleep last night was pretty bad too. I'm gonna try to take a nap this afternoon to make up some of the loss of sleep. Laura Lou says, I completely agree. This is a very hard time to be fasting right now. Yeah. Really, it was bad timing to do this, but I was preparing this fast 2 weeks ago. So I had no idea America was going to get turned upside down with all the tension that's in the country right now. So those of us who are publicly online and very visible, sorry, my nose is itching really bad, visibly online, we're getting a lot of ugliness behind the scenes and even in front of the scenes on our comments. So I'm human. I'm going to feel that. So I may have to end it. And Ashton says, do what's right for you. I always do. I know not to play the hero. Stony Glenn says, I broke my fast yesterday for this very reason. With the stress, I was just so upset and so sorry. You don't deserve it. Thank you. Linda says, I'll understand if you end it. People can be so mean. Sending you hugs. Hope you get over this soon. Thank you. Kat says, you can't please everybody, but you can please yourself, exclamation mark. Yeah, I pretty much walk to the tune of my own drum. I don't really care what people think about me. But in a way I do, because I'm human. So, and it affects you. Ashton says, it's shameful people can be so unfeeling right now during these times. Sharon says, yes, maybe we can try again in a couple of months. Yeah, I definitely want to try fasting again, do another group fast. But this was my concern. Once I thought COVID-19 was kind of like we were beyond the stress of that and we were getting ready to do this fast, I thought, okay, we'll be ready. And then everything happened with the racial tension, and it just made all of this hard again. So definitely, Sharon, will try it in a couple of months. Christy says, you don't deserve that. Sorry it happened to you. Those that don't think it's right do not have to participate. I appreciate the fast during this time. Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to continue to offer support to you guys that are going to continue on, even if I choose to break mine today. Christy says, participating in this does not mean anyone isn't aware of what's going on in the world. That's true. Haggai said, I came in way late. Where can I look up info on that breath meter? So it is called the BioSense, mybiosense.com. And if you put in the coupon code Jimmy, in fact, I think I have an image. Oh, it's on my other phone. Sorry about that. So yeah, if you put a coupon code Jimmy, then you'll get, oops, I'm trying to get back to the comments and it's not letting me do it. There we go. It'll give you $20 off of your order plus free shipping. So it's a really cool little device. They definitely have medically tested it. It's gone through clinical trials. It's being used in research right now. So really impressed with that one. It's probably the best meter on the market. Jillian says her ketones are 1.7. That's awesome. B. Parkman says it's important to understand the difference between true hunger and appetite. Most of what we experience on a fast is appetite driven by our emotions. Ooh, very well said. I like that. Rachel says, I hear ya. I'm pretty stressed right now too. St. Louis issued a curfew at night due to what's going on. It's okay to not be the hero. We've all got to do what's best for us. Exactly. And I will, Rachel. Thank you for that. B. Parkman says, don't watch the Food Network when you're on a fast. Ask me how I know. Jillian says, I wish I could stay away from food, but my kids and hubby gotta eat. Well, make hubby make the meals. You don't have to make them. Just kidding. Bonnie says, if you use in the beginning of a fast a drink of ketones, I saw you once try it. It wasn't on a fast. Does that help in a hunger issue in your fast? It could. You're talking about like a ketone ester or exogenous ketones. Some people say those can help early on in the midst of doing a fast. And so, yeah, I mean, if that's something, I think the primary benefit you get from those, not only the ketone boost, but a lot of them are salt based, because those the exogenous ketones are actually beta hydroxybutyrate salts. So I wonder how much of the benefit is from the salt in it as well. Abel James says, happy fasting. Yes, thank you, brother. My post today was in some ways in referencing the heat you're taking on social that I saw. Yeah, it was bad today. Unmar says, my ketones are 3.4. Why a sad face? You don't have to have a sad face for 3.4 ketones. That's amazing. Good job. You don't need to have sad face for that. That's incredible. There would be people that would love to buy some of those ketones from you out of your body. So don't give a sad face for that. That's good. All right. Thank you, Instagram. Let's pop over here to my Facebook page, see what you guys have to say. And good morning, good morning. Berkeley says, don't give in to any agenda. If you do, they win. Keep spreading the good. Don't let the hate shut you down. The vast majority of Americans are not racist. Your worldview is correct. Yeah, I don't understand why we can't have a discussion and just have people share without being ridiculed and judged. And unfortunately, you could say all the nicest things in the world and somebody's going to look at you cross-eyed like you said something really bad. That's the confusing part for me. I have nothing but love and compassion for fellow human beings in my heart, so I don't get this division by any means. I get there are issues with certain sectors of our society, but let's stop pretending like that everybody has that division. I don't. I didn't grow up with that division, so it's foreign to me. On the upside, Nancy says, it seems to be calming down across the country. I take comfort that people are coming together. I think permanent change might come. Well, we're all hopeful. Tracy says, I've gotten the same treatment you have. And that's a shame. I don't think nobody needs to go through that that's trying to do good. Now, if you're a rabble rouser, yeah, call them out. Call out rabble rousers who are just spreading hate. But people that are trying to bring people together in love and compassion and kindness, I just do not get why those people get come down upon so hard. Mandy said somebody peed in their Cheerios. It's so funny because I grew up with peed in your cornflakes. But yeah, same thing, exactly. Louise says, there will always be a reason to not fast. I'm in day 3 doing well. It was with your support and now you're not doing this with me. I'm not happy. I'm still fasting, darling. I don't know why you're mad at me about you thinking I've ended my fast. I'm telling you that I know my body, and if I need to end the fast, and same for you and same for anybody watching right now, if you get to the point where this is too much for you, you can end your fast. There is no obligation to push through when your body needs to end the fast. And there's no sense in being upset if I'm not doing this with you. Trust me, sweetie, I have done a bunch of long fasts. I have lots of experience with doing long fasts, much longer than 7 days. I've done 3 21-day fasts. So I have a lot of experience doing fasts. I will still be here the rest of the week, even if I personally end my own fast. There's no sense in being upset if I have to end my fast. Berkeley says, perhaps because I'm old and lived through the 60s, I refuse to have anybody steal my peace. I add black coffee to my fast, but hunger is not an issue. This has become a mental challenge for me. Yeah, black coffee is fine when you're on a fast. Nancy said, this is my 3rd fast I've done with you. I've learned something new every time about how I handle fasting. My personal best fasting time I will hit later today, and I owe it all to you. Well, that's cool, Nancy. Congratulations. Berkeley says, am I weird because I like the hunger feeling? Yes, you're weird. I imagine my body is eating my excess fat. Well, I mean, once you get the satiety that comes from tapping into those stored body fat, it is kind of a cool way to look at it. Nancy says, I have a 2-hour rule. When the hunger hits, I have some water or tea and I commit to going for 2 more hours. Usually that by then I'll be okay, or I'll have another warm drink and push it 2 more hours. Eventually I'll hit the wall, but I do get past the temporary hunger. I love that, Nancy, where you kind of set the timer. Okay, I'm feeling this hunger. I'm going to take in salt. I'm going to take in water. I'm going to do the things to try to calm this down, and I'm going to give it a couple of hours. And if a couple of hours from now comes and I'm still feeling it, maybe I try it one more time and give it a couple more hours. And then after that, if you're still feeling the hunger after 4 hours, yeah, it might be time to end the fast. So I like that. Nancy says, I'm at hour 65, feeling great. I didn't get this feeling on past fast, so I'm enjoying it. That's a good thing to remember too, that one of the expectations is the more you fast, the easier this becomes over time. So congratulations, that's awesome. Berkeley says, I'm at 65 hours as well. We can do this. Awesome. Rhonda's also at 65. Lewis says, good, you're going to still support. Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. If I end my fast personally, I'm not going anywhere at all. Norma says, I've been using the Peak Fasting Tea from Dr. Jason Fung. That really helps. It's got cinnamon in it. Yeah, and that's a natural blood sugar lower as well. Well, thank you, Facebook. I'm going to pop over now to my Facebook page, or YouTube channel. Sorry, I was just on Facebook. YouTube channel. What's up, YouTubers? See what you guys have to say. Wow, look at all those comments. Shirley says, I don't like that they're trying to shut us up because we may not have personal experience with it. I've also heard people say that if we say nothing, we're part of the problem. Yeah, I don't like the idea of don't give me a winning situation. If you ask me to speak up and I speak up, but you don't happen to like what I say, then you can't also criticize me for speaking up when I do speak up if I'm saying it in love and kindness. So yeah, it's a bit of a double standard if you ask me. Shirley says it was rough, about to hit 72 hours. It's about to get better, I hope. It's supposed to. It's supposed to. Miss Getchy says, just curious, can you explain why you test your glucose? If you don't eat any carbs or sugar, should you be doing that? Great question. Yes, you should be doing that because I want you to see what happens. Because even when you're not eating food, your blood glucose can fluctuate. I've talked about this before, that when you start tapping into stored body fat, you've got pockets of sugar inside of the fat cells. And so you want to see what's happening with that release into your bloodstream. Plus you want to see if you're getting hypoglycemic. If you're feeling bad and then you test your blood sugar and you're in the 40s with your blood sugar, you want to know that. So it's just good information to have. So you don't have to, obviously, but I think it's a good thing to have. This is my first fast since I started going carnivore. I've noticed slight differences in this fast compared to others, like how I did not feel loopy at all on day 2. Well, good. Sounds like your carnivore probably was already putting your body in a good fat adapted state. Mike says, this is also my first fast since carnivore. So far, so good. Almost 63 hours in. Keep it up. Shirley says, cleaning out the refrigerator, staying away from food might be a little difficult with 3 kids and a husband. Well, make that husband make them 3 kids some food. Mike says, I heard that if you're fasting and struggling, you may take a ketone supplement to help. Yeah, I think it could be helpful. And I do have some ketone esters in there that I could take if I wanted to. We'll see. Eric says, my coworkers tell me after day 3 of a fast that I need to eat. I have way too much energy though. Yeah, exactly. You get a lot of energy. That's the ironic thing. People think you just get weaker and weaker and weaker. And actually, if you get past day 2 and into day 3, you actually get stronger and stronger, more energy. Harp C says, wonderful on 500 plus episodes. Thank you. I have fasted during medical treatment to enhance the benefits, and the doctor smiled. See, a lot of people don't give benefit or don't think about the benefits of fasting going into like a medical procedure. Like, why do they make you do that? Well, number one, they don't want you to have all kinds of things in your bowels so that they have a messy operating room table. But think about what you're doing when you're in a very long period of fasting, which, you know, sometimes upwards of 24 hours before your procedure, they say don't eat. And then you have the procedure, and then you, depending on what the procedure is, maybe you don't eat a little while longer. Well, you're kind of in a 48 to 72 hour fast. And of course, that can promote healing, the anti-inflammatory effects, and some of the other things. So it is fascinating. And yeah, the fact that your doctor smiled, he knew apparently that there was good things that would happen from that. All right, let's pop back over here to my Instagram page before we get out of here. All right. I had to block somebody because they said something very ugly to me on my Instagram. There is no sense in all the ugliness, people. I don't get that. I don't. Danielle says, I think there are plenty of people who are willing to share patiently and calmly about their experiences and their anger, but posting posts like you did that fuel and spread and divide is the problem. Well, thank you, Danielle. I appreciate your perspective. I didn't divide anything. I brought us together. But thank you for sharing your perspective. I really appreciate that. Joss says, you are right. You could be ill if you don't listen to your body. I always listen to my body. So, Danielle had one more comment. Some people are just angry right now. That isn't an excuse to execute violence or deter people from understanding the anger, but to generalize as you did and speak about not doing is unfair as well. Yeah, I didn't do any such thing when I wrote my post today. I'm sorry that you misinterpreted it that way. I certainly feel that people do have their emotions right now over this. So we're on the same team. Like, I really don't understand why you don't understand that. I am coming at this from a heart of love and compassion for all people. I grew up, my mama grew me well. She said, love everybody. And I do. And literally, I grew up in a church setting where race is not, God doesn't see race. Okay? We're not divided by race. Now, I get it. People identify as race and they have those divides, and there are people who do divide along racial lines, but that's not Jimmy Moore. So don't put me in the box of those people who do, when all I see is human beings and love for those human beings. Anybody that watches me here daily on Jimmy Rants will tell you, I love people. I come on here every single day and don't have I don't charge you one single dime to watch what you're watching right now on Jimmy Rants. I do this out of love and compassion in my heart for helping other people. And so I'm sorry that you have this feeling about me from what I wrote today. It's definitely not at all true what you're saying. But again, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on this, because I really do want to learn. She says, I agree, we're on the same team and we do need to come together. I liked your caption. I agree with it. It's the same things I've said on my page, and I'm sorry people are attacking you. Thank you. And I have a heart. This is the hard part for me too, is I have a heart for people. And so when you have a heart, you have emotion and you have tenderness and caring for your fellow human. And I, for the life of me, don't understand the hate that's out there. I don't understand why a guy would stick his knee on the neck of an innocent guy. I, for the life of me, can't even fathom why something like that would happen. But it did. And in that world, I'm trying to be a light, a hopefulness that we can move beyond this. We can come to a greater understanding, and then we all come together, and then we don't get stressed, so we can actually fast. Like, I would love to do a 7-day fast without feeling the stress of all of this that's going on. And that's where I'm trying to be. Bonnie says, you keep showing love, we will too. Thank you. Okay. I'm done, guys. I'm gonna pop off of here for now. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content. Go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can go engage live in the content, just like Mr. Cloudheads, who said, I thought I saw a post where you mentioned a CGM. Yes, I am wearing a continuous glucose monitor right there. That is the Freestyle Libre. Are you diabetic? You don't have to be diabetic to be wearing a CGM. And so, yes, I do have a CGM on. Continuous glucose monitor is called the Freestyle Libre. No, I am not a diabetic. But I think everybody should wear CGMs to know what's happening in their blood sugar. But thank you for that question. We also simulcast on my Facebook page. Mandy said when the doctor's office forms ask for ethnicity, it's no different than checking blood type box. It makes no difference what color our skin is, just like our blood is all red. Thank you for that, Mandy. And also on my YouTube channel, which I thought I saw another comment. So true, I believe in the sincereness of your heart. Thank you, Harpsy. I really appreciate that. So that's where we simulcast all over the place. So there you go. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay on IGTV right here on Instagram. We also throw them up over on YouTube on replay. Go type in the keyword Jimmy Rants. You'll find the show on YouTube. And finally, you can go to JimmyRants.com, which has all of our 500 plus episodes and counting of this show. So go over there. And if you like what we do here, I don't charge anything, but I definitely would appreciate it if you support the show. I have a Patreon page there. You can just click on the link, and anything you give would be definitely helpful in keeping the show going. But thanks so much for being here today, you guys, and we'll be back again real soon. Bye.